Welcome to The Explainer. So, beneath the waves, right off the coast of California, there is an environment that feels, honestly, almost alien. It operates under its very own incredible set of biological rules. Today, we're taking a deep structural dive into the Channel Islands kelp forests to see exactly how this breathtaking underwater world actually works.
Now, the Galapagos of North America, that is a pretty prestigious nickname, right? It instantly brings to mind this unparalleled biodiversity and totally unique evolutionary marvels. Well, that title officially belongs to the Channel Islands National Park. And as you'll see today, we're going to explore exactly why this specific marine environment has earned such a massive global reputation.
When we normally think of forests, we imagine lacing up our hiking boots, walking on pine needles, maybe smelling the soil. But travel with me for a second to the waters just off Anacapa Island. Out here, the ocean actually grows its own forests. If you plunge beneath the surface, you're immediately dropped into this immersive, three-dimensional fluid woodland where giant kelp sways in the ocean currents instead of the wind. It's just wild to see.
Okay, let's dive into the scale of this place, because to truly grasp the architecture of this environment, you have to look at the numbers. We are talking over 30 meters. A single one of these giant kelp plants forms a vertical world that stretches longer than a 10-story building. Just imagine standing on the ocean floor and looking all the way up through this towering golden-green canopy that reaches right up to the surface of the water. But wait, the size is really only half the story. The daily growth rate here is staggering, greater than 60 centimeters. That is over 2 feet of growth in a single 24-hour period. It absolutely makes this fast-growing seaweed one of the most dynamic, hyper-productive biological marvels on Earth. I mean, we're talking about an ecosystem literally building itself in real time. So you might be wondering, how does a 10-story, incredibly fast-growing underwater skyscraper keep from just floating away? Well, the secret is all in its foundation. These are called holdfasts. They're these root-like structures that firmly anchor the giant kelp to the seafloor. Now, they aren't true roots. They don't pull nutrients from the soil or anything. Their one and only crucial job is structural integrity. They grip the rock with this iron-like hold to withstand the constant pounding surge of the ocean. All right, so the base is locked in, but how do these heavy, waterlogged fronds manage to reach 10 stories up? This is where the sheer evolutionary genius of giant kelp really shines. Air-filled bladders. These are small, buoyant sacs that basically act like tiny little balloons, lifting the ribbons vertically. It's such an ingenious natural engineering solution, making sure the fronds can reach that sunlight canopy overhead, which is totally vital for the photosynthesis needed to fuel that crazy 60-centimeter-a-day growth spurt. When you put all of this together, the massive height, that rapid growth, the sturdy holdfasts, and those clever buoyant bladders, you end up with a vertical world metropolis. Every single layer of this ecosystem is just humming with activity. Up at the top, sunlight beautifully filters through the canopy. Down below, you've got fish threading themselves between stalks, like these visible underwater currents, agile sea lions twisting through the openings, and sea urchins grazing along the seafloor. Absolutely nothing sits still here. It's constant motion. But, and this is a really big but, for all its immense size and rapid growth, this biological powerhouse hides a pretty dark paradox. It is shockingly fragile. A kelp forest that has taken literally decades to establish its complex, bustling metropolis can be completely erased in just a few short years. It can go from a densely populated vertical city straight back to an empty, barren seabed in what feels like the blink of an eye.
So what acts as the catalyst for such a rapid collapse? Well, there are 3 primary environmental threats we need to look at. First up, marine heat waves. When the water temperature spikes, the kelp essentially starves. Second is ocean acidification, which shifts the water's chemical balance and severely stresses the foundational health of the whole forest. And third, changing currents, which totally disrupt the stable delivery of nutrients. These factors, they don't care how fast kelp can grow. They act like rapid erasers, completely dismantling the underwater community.
And this intense vulnerability is exactly why human intervention and stewardship matter so much right now. The Channel Islands National Park serves as this massive protective shield across 5 distinct islands and their marine environments. By actively managing this area, the park acts as a vital conservation tool. It's protecting not just the seaweed, but the sea lions, the fish, and really the entire metropolis of wildlife that absolutely depends on it for survival. Which kind of leaves us looking at this ultimate paradox of nature. We've got a biological powerhouse that is simultaneously incredibly resilient and yet breathtakingly fragile. If an ecosystem can grow 60 centimeters a day but vanish in a few short years, what will the Galapagos of North America actually look like tomorrow? Understanding these dynamics is the crucial first step toward conservation, but it definitely forces us to ask what role we play in ensuring this underwater metropolis doesn't just become a ghost town. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I'll catch you next time.